do you know what? Trev's got class.
He does.
He could have just signed his name up to whatever.
I think at this point he's retired, so he doesn't give a fuck.
I think you still see him on like Trevor McDonald goes to Hawaii. Do you know?
Trevor McDonald meets the Queen and all that. Carry on. He's just like
Lenny Mary, doesn't he? Unless he's got a shovel. The Wedding Singer 1998. Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler are amazing together.
Yeah, they absolutely are. They've got chemistry. They can't deny that.
Is this like top tier Sandler for you?
No. It has its moments. It has some of the funniest moments in Sandler movies.
It really does.
Overall, no, it wouldn't be. I mean, it's up there. It's one of his better ones, don't get me wrong. It's no, I don't think it's touching Big Daddy, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore for me. I think that's the three. It might be fourth. Might be thereabouts. It's much better than Grown Ups and all that shit that he's doing now.
I would need to have to think, but it is still a very special...
I mean, excluding his dramatic work, I'm just talking about his actual Happy Madison stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, Punch Drunk Love and stuff, but I'm not counting that.
Director Frank Carassi, how do you say that?
Carassi, I think. I don't know. He is in the movie, though. He's one of the band members.
He also has collaborated with the Sandman on The Waterboy, Click, Zookeeper, Here Comes the Boom, that's a Kevin James joint, but Blended, that reunites Drew and Adam Sandler, and The Ridiculous Six. So
a lot of shite.
The Waterboy
has very funny moments.
By the way,
it's not a great film.
Not as good as you remember.
No, I didn't even like it back then. I liked bits of it, but
I loved The Waterboy back then.
See any film where Sandler does a voice the whole way through it.
Robbie, a singer, and Julia, a waitress, are both engaged, but to the wrong people. Fortune intervenes to help them discover each other.
You're invited to The Wedding Singer.
Good intro, Cam.
New Line Cinema presents funky blue logo with a red shadow. I'm into this.
I've wrote this New Line logo as a belter. I don't know why we spend every podcast talking about the logos, but
it matters.
It's the same as the intro to The Mask. That's got a cool logo that sticks with me because I used to wear out that VHS. Man, we start this thing with Dead or Alive. This soundtrack's fucking banging.
This is a good tune.
It's a great tune. It was good then and good when they re-released it.
Would you be pure in the clubs in the 80s dancing to that?
Oh man, I would be doing fucking all sorts in the 80s.
What do you mean?
I'd be doing gear and dancing to this tune and poking birds. I say that. And yet, when I was in nightclubs in the 90s, I done nothing. Just sat in the corner like a fucking VL.
Sat in your horns.
You gotta dance with me?
You were like Jeremy for Valentine.
Some lassie made an accusation against me and then I get battered.
It has got so much energy from the get-go.
Man, it's party time. This movie just puts you right in the party atmosphere right away.
A wedding singer welcomes us to this wedding, welcomes us to this movie. He's inviting everyone up to dance. We get a family headbanging at the table. A man does the hopa, the Russian dance. Robbie's introduced. This is Adam Sandler as he begins to sing You Spin Me Right Round by Dead or Alive. He looks amazing in this.
He does, aye. And they've got the whole aesthetic down. He's like, I didn't like the part where it's like there's this fat woman eating some cake. She's like eating the wedding cake.
It's full of this.
This movie's terrible with the fat shaming, man. It's kind of fucked.
He's never been the leanest guy in the world.
Oh no,
either.
all of his films aren't great with the fat shaming or the.
And he's not the smallest dude either. Like.
That's the thing, man. You don't think he is, but I think Adam Sandler has this image of himself, and I've always thought this, that he's this pure, gorgeous, handsome action hero type guy. Because he always puts himself in all his movies with these impossibly beautiful woman.
I
Remember
think.
Click, where Kate Beckinsale's his wife, and you're like,
I mean,
hold on the
she
new.
went with Pete Davidson.
Hold on the new. and what was that one? Jennifer Aniston was his missus.
That's happened a couple of times. Just go
Selena,
with it. And
what's her name? Dust Till Dawn.
Salma Hayek.
Come on now.
A woman goes nuts on the dance floor, swinging her arms as her partner mildly dances. We get Alexis Arquette in the background as a Boy George character.
Yeah. I've wrote my notes Boy George the whole way through the movie.
It's a great turn.
One of the best parts of the movie is George the whole way through it.
Every scene is stolen by Alexis Arquette, R.I.P. He shouts, "Somebody get some pants in this kid." That's a funny line.
That's funny, little naked booby.
Robbie points out a bottomless kid dancing with the bride. Rob interacts with the grandma. She's loving it. He's clearly a pure great wedding singer.
Oh man, he's a fucking celebrity, man. He's like a hero with these people at the start of this film.
He's a guy you want.
Yes, he's full of charisma, full of life.
We get the big woman eating the cake gag. Okay. We get Peter Dante giving a kid booze. He toasts with him, then pushes.
This is funny, but him getting that kid booze is funny.
He gives this little tiny kid booze, toasts with him, and then pushes him away to absolve responsibility. A man dances wildly with an elderly lady, and she is like, "What?" Did you see that? This is some of the best Sandler world building stuff.
Yeah, this is all great. Yep.
Everybody's a character. He whips his shirt off as well. That guy.
Aye.
Everybody claps for the band. They're loving it. Title: Ridgefield Banquet Hall, 1985. This is one of my all-time favourite
moments in the movie.
Cameos, certainly.
Aye. Steve Buscemi fucking kills this movie.
It is ridiculous with that much screen time as well.
And I can't describe how funny this is. I'm not going to write you. You go ahead. I'm sure you've written it down word for word.
Robbie introduces the groom's brother,
David.
And he introduces us to one of the greatest scenes in cinema's history. Steve Buscemi, Dave Veltri, awkwardly approaches the stage and grabs the mic.
I'm laughing already.
And he's kind of, we're thinking, oh, he's stumbling a bit. And it's Steve Buscemi. The hair's kind of mushed up a bit.
He's had a few.
His suit's very classic. And he's got that look in his eye.
And he's talking directly to his dad.
Well, Peter Dante cheers him on. That's his mate that was giving the kid booze. Totally makes sense. And he goes, "Woo!" And Buscemi gives him a look like, "Don't worry about it, I've got it." Did you see that? He talks directly to the dad mostly.
Aye.
He talks about when Harold is the one getting married, his brother. He talks about when Harold asked him to be best man, and immediately starts talking about his rehab stint. In that time he couldn't find his car. Peter Dante is laughing through this, and he says, and this is his dad's voice, "'Cause Harold, he's always been the dependable one, and I've always been the screwed up one, right, Dad?" And the dad gives him a face like, "Oh," and it's still a wee bit innocent. "Why can't you be more like your brother? Harold would never beat up his landlord."
Oh my god, he delivers it so perfectly.
Pete shakes his head and says, "He is drunk as shit." Buscemi coughs it off and says, "A little newsflash, Pop." The dad shakes his head. "Harold ain't so perfect." Harold and his bride look confused. "Remember that time in Puerto Rico when we picked up those two? I guess they were prostitutes, but I don't remember paying." Oh, that is so dark.
It's super dark.
That is so dark.
Amazing though.
At this point, Robbie intervenes and grabs the mic. Buscemi screams, "I'm a person too, Pop! God damn it!"
He smacks the drum.
And the dad shouts, "You're a moron!" This time's Buscemi. He looks so sore when
He starts crying.
he goes. Robbie says goodbye to Buscemi. The best man, everybody. From behind, Buscemi says, best man, the better man. As he wanders around the equipment, he taps the drummer's cymbal with his Scotch and gives a woo. Robbie gives a great speech, saying how none of us are perfect. Buscemi picks up a guitar and starts rattling it. The dad puts his handkerchief down, looking at the table. Buscemi strums a guitar, asking if he sounds good. He says it's because he's the best guitar player in the world. Self-taught, no lessons, thank you very much, Pop. Walks away and says they'll be divorced within a year. That's his brother.
I give it a year.
Robbie goes back to his speech about how when you fall in love, you become a different person and the emptiness drifts away because you find something to live for, each other. They cheer and he wins everyone back over, including Buscemi, who's in a corner with his Scotch, and he says, that's a good wedding singer.
Amazing. This is, 5 minutes into the movie and we've got the funniest scene probably. Buscemi's good in whatever he does. He's kind of impossible to be bad in anything. He's in a lot of terrible films, but he's always good in them.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just absolutely fucking amazing.
It's one of my favourite cameos. Is that the same for you?
Oh yeah, 100%. And a Sandler movie or just of all time?
Of all time.
Oh, man, I should have wrote a top 5 because I can't think of off the top of my head a funnier one.
To see an actor with class like that do a role, it's so great.
Boy George now starts singing Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? That's what I've got in the next note.
They are unfortunately all
A little bit transphobic here.
They're all very disgusted.
Everybody kind of looks at each other and gives them ugly looks. It's a bit weird.
It's pretty much a constant gag throughout the film. However, there's a couple of really nice bright spots with George, a couple of really nice scenes that didn't end with a punchline like that.
I like that when George is singing, Dave's kind of into her.
Yeah.
Buscemi's looking at her and he's like, hey, kind of hot or something.
It's so good. Sandler approaches Alan Covert, who is portraying Sammy. He's spying on Drew Barrymore's Julia. He's saying she's in trouble. She's going to get it and she doesn't even know it, and he's going to give it to her.
Man, that is a scumbag thing to say. She's going to get it and she doesn't know it, and I'm going to give it to her.
She's Holly's cousin. This is Drew Barrymore we're talking about. Holly is... Oh, we'll talk about Holly once we're introduced to her. She's Holly's cousin, and if she's anything like Holly, he'll seal the deal by the end of the week.
The chef loves Holly. We meet this chef and he's got a Frankie says relax t-shirt on.
Yeah.
He loves Holly's cousin because she let him look at her boobs once.
Yeah. Christine Taylor comes in, who is adorable playing Holly. Drew Barrymore's
adorable too, but I would rather Christine Taylor, to be honest.
This is when he sort of looks at Drew and raises the eyebrows as if, could I maybe look at yours? And she goes, no.
Drew's Julia, that's the character. And we sort of get a wee bit of exposition here between her and Holly, but she's, and correct me if I'm wrong, she's just moved here.
Robbie finds the drunk teen and helps him out. This is a sweet scene.
Yeah, he helps him throw up in the dumpster. Man, like watching this scene just makes me so happy that I don't drink anymore.
I am so grateful.
See waiting when you're drunk and the taste of the drink coming back up. Oh, I can't do it anymore.
Robbie hasn't arrived back to the stage yet, so George and the group do the same song again.
George just looks around all confused and they just loop it. It's so funny. And the people in the audience are just looking at them like, what the fuck's going on?
Gives the exact same devotions, but unfortunately the exact same performance and emotions to the exact same song, so it's I've been touched. One of the guests goes, what? Did you hear that? See, when they start playing again, he goes, what? Robbie and Julia meet as he dunks this kid's head in the dumpster. Steve Buscemi tries to take the kid back inside. And
By the way, man, can I just say something about this bit of physical comedy that Steve Buscemi does here? I don't know if this is intentional. Do you know what I'm going to say?
When he falls.
See when he falls off that curb, he misses the curb and falls. It's fucking hilarious, and I think he actually really fell. It's so funny because he frightens himself. He falls and goes, "Oh."
It's amazing. He always lives in a performance like that.
100%.
Steve Buscemi tries to take the drunk kid back inside, and Robbie doesn't let him. He knows it's quite a cool scene. He's basically saying, "Don't go down that path" as well.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah,
Robbie takes a kid. Steve Buscemi, offended, says, "Hey, wedding singer?" And he does a tap finger dance with his fingers, stumbles, drops his drink. But see, when he stumbles, he walks away immediately straight as if he's sober. He walks as if he's sort of had a whoof. It's that when you go outside, you give yourself a fright when the drink hits you.
Aye. Oh, we've all been there.
Robbie and Julia chat. He asks if she's drinking. She says no. She'd puke worse than that kid if she did. The chemistry between these two is
man. You can tell these people are like right into each other.
I just say that a lot through this because it's all everybody talks about. They are so sweet together,
works, and that's why they've done. I didn't see Blended, but I seen 50 First Dates. Is that right?
Yeah, amazing movie.
I like that movie. It's got some stuff in it as well. It's a bit iffy.
You should see Blended.
But still, man, they two work together.
Yep.
And it's like one of those things that like I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up together in real life. Like I know they've both got families and that now.
Wouldn't you say that to Jackie Sandler?
No, I don't mean now, but like if they would have been out after this movie.
Yeah.
It would have totally made sense.
Julia says she's going to be waiting at his wedding next week. He compliments her ring. They go back and forth, reinstating their commitments but being cute with each other until Sammy interrupts, telling Robbie that they're turning on George and he better get back in there.
George is getting heckled and it's fucking hilarious, man.
We go back to Robbie, who says he's going to learn a new song, meaning Boy George.
Aye, Boy George.
He says it was nice to meet you to Julia. Julia says if she gets married, hopefully he could sing at their wedding, and he politely agrees.
You loving this? Is your heart off flutter here with these two?
I do. I was a kid when I watched this.
So we're now at the next scene and Robbie is doing singing lessons. He's playing piano and he's teaching singing lessons to this sweet little old lady.
This is...
I don't know, sorry.
It's Ellen Dow who's playing Rosie.
She's amazing. And this song, by the way, she's so fucking funny. Is she his grandmother or is she just a sweet old lady that knows
sweet
queer?
Old lady.
Right, okay. He's teaching her to sing this song that she wants to sing to her husband on their, is it 60th anniversary?
Rosie is getting singing lessons to sing to her husband on their 50th anniversary.
And it's a beautiful wee song. She wants to pay him and she pays him in meatballs.
Yeah.
Which is sweet and funny, but she's also not getting any tip of it. She scoops these two big dirty meatballs directly into his hands, and Robbie's such a gentleman that he just takes them. Then she makes him take a bite in front of him.
It's so much. I couldn't tell if I had a different cut at all. We learn here that Robbie's an orphan. She asks if he is nervous about the wedding night.
Oh, I did see that. I didn't write this down actually, and I asked him about if he's a virgin or...
She says she
wasn't a virgin when she get married.
She wasn't a virgin when she get married. She'd already had intercourse with 8 men.
That was like 50 back then or something, she says.
She says that was a lot back then. That would be like 200 now.
So Julia's mum is in the car with Julia. She's dropping her off to work at Robbie and Linda's wedding. She asks her how she feels about her own wedding, which is confusing if you've never seen the movie, but it will make sense.
She critiques her quite a bit.
She's a bit critical. She's not a very supportive mother, and she encourages her to fake a pregnancy.
To keep playing on the line.
Which is funny that it's so fucked up.
She says fake the pregnancy to get the dates going faster.
That's really funny.
That's funny.
We get to the scene and now Robbie's standing at the altar.
This is
his best men. We've got Don't Stop Believing by Journey playing on the strings, string quartet. And he gets stood up.
It's horrible.
You see this in movies and stuff all the time, and it's like an absolute nightmare scenario. I would rather you dumped me right before it. Don't just leave me standing there in front of my entire family and friends looking like an arsehole.
Linda did him dirty, and it's so ironic because he's a wedding singer.
I know, but he can't do weddings right himself.
He freaks out under a canopy. It's not a canopy, it's an actual structure.
I've wrote dressing room, but it is a canopy. It's like a little tent that's been off to the side where he must have come out of, but you basically hear him having a tantrum where he's smashing up the mirror and stuff, as you would.
We cut to George, who is being overly dramatic about all of this. Robbie is at his sister's place with Sammy and Andy.
Sammy and Andy. Andy, can we just talk about, we'll just get out of the way now. What is his hair doing? What is this haircut?
Portrayed by Frank Severo from Goodfellas.
Goodfellas and The Godfather.
Robbie's sister's man. The kid comes up dressed as Freddy.
He's drew a picture of his ex dressed as a devil.
Yeah.
That's really funny, man.
He's
These
got
kids are adorable.
Devil goatee.
And Robbie says that's not very nice.
Why is the devil always got that goatee in particular?
I don't know if it's just an iconic image that some artist made and people just copied it, but everybody puts him with a wee pointy goatee.
Linda comes back as Robbie sits alone outside, says she just couldn't do it. She doesn't want to marry him now. She wants to marry him 6 years ago when he was in a band making music in his spandex. She's devastated. She's marrying a wedding singer stuck in her town. But
I do like the way he says, like, this is information I could have done with yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is true. Like, see if she felt this way, man, why marry him?
He's also proud of where he's from. He says it's a perfect place to raise a family, and she just insults him. She's not good.
She's a bad person. Like, she's a villain in this movie as
yeah,
well.
and plays it well.
Oh yeah, she does, yeah. I mean, it would be different if they tried to make her sympathetic and she just couldn't do it because she's freaking out, but she's just kind of mean to him and just like, you're nothing, you're nobody. Like, a wedding singer's a pathetic job and I want to live my life kind of thing, and you're a loser. It's kind of fucking mean. Especially after just leaving him at the altar. It's kind of fucked up.
A nephew runs over, calls her a
bitch. Amazing.
Robbie says he might have Tourette's. They're looking into it. Linda says sorry and leaves. Glenn brings roses to Julia. Glenn is a character.
Isn't it funny how you couldn't get away with this character now?
So yeah, Glenn brings roses to Julia and plane tickets to Vegas. He knows she wanted to set a date, but she's gutted. She says she wanted to get married here. He realises this and says, okay.
It's no, but he also says, and I've wrote the line here, this is important to you anyway.
Yeah, he says...
That's a red flag, man. I get that this is the stereotypical bad boyfriend villain in a movie that you want her to break up with and be with our hero. I get that. But straight away, she should be seeing that he doesn't want to marry her. I mean, it's so obvious in this scene. I don't know if she's blinded by her love for him or she's that desperate to get married that she doesn't see it. But the fact that he actually says to her, like, it's important to you, which implies that it's not important to him.
He's loaded with lines like that, though.
Aye, the whole way through the movie, he's just such a dick, man. He's good at it, though. He plays the character really well.
I think this guy's hilarious.
He is really funny. He's a pure sleazebag.
Sammy arrives to check in on Robbie. Frank Severo, his brother-in-law, says he thinks Robbie's having some kind of
mental situation.
He tells Sammy to do something because he doesn't want to be known as the brother-in-law of the town nutjob.
It's amazing. She goes downstairs to see him and he's lying in bed listening to Boys Don't Cry by The Cure.
I like that he climbs into bedroom.
It's a nice kind of moment.
Yeah.
It kind of warms up Sammy. He climbs into bedroom and basically encourages him to go back to work.
There is homophobia in this film, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There are nice moments between men, though, I find, in this film. I really like that. This is one of them.
Yeah.
He tells him he has to get back to work. There's a wedding tonight. There's going to be over 100 girls at this wedding. He just wants one of them to play with his ding dong.
He's not wrong. He's worded it horribly. But when you've been through a breakup like that, he's just basically, in his own way, encouraging him just to go and have some fun. It's funny. It's good. I like this scene. Oh, yeah, the way it cuts here, it cuts to the wedding that night and he's singing Holiday by Madonna. He's no shaved and he's miserable. And the wedding is going terribly. It's fucking hilarious.
This is Cindy and Scott's wedding and he's still like wearing the glitter, but he's so depressed. The father of the bride is raging. It is so funny.
And he starts arguing with him on the mic
this version of Holiday, by the way, but Alexis Arquette is in the background still dancing like normal.
Get right into it.
Holly approaches Sammy and says he's just had his heart broken. How could he even think about coming back to work? Sammy shrugs and says, I don't know.
That was his idea.
He dragged him there. That's so funny. The couple look miserable. It is kind of a shame that
it's kind of a sin, but it's really funny. The dad's getting so angry. Robbie then goes on the mic and says that he won't find love, and then he goes around the room, and I didn't like this, and starts roasting people in the room, calling this guy fat. He calls him fatty or something, doesn't he? Fatty's been staring at that cake all night or something like that, and it's like, oh man,
sorry, there's a couple of notes, is that alright? Can I just say? The couple look miserable. Robbie congratulates the couple. It says, well done, at least she showed up. Done better than me. The dad says he's not paying for this. The dad says he's not paying for his thoughts on life. He's paying for him to sing. He goes off on one about true love. Says he'll never find true love. He says, hey, maybe this guy. He points to the guy in oversized coat who's buttering something, it looks like. He says he'll never find love. The guy's wearing a wedding ring though. Isn't that interesting?
Aye, but he's fat, so it's funny to say that he'll never find love.
Yeah. He says, and maybe the lady with the sideburns.
She nods.
Can I say the only thing that I laugh about with the lady with the sideburns? It's the way she looks up. She goes... As if like a deer in the morning mist. It's just...
She also nods as well. Kind of acknowledges what you're saying.
And basically everybody at table 9.
Again, it shows you these people. And again, we spoke about this.
Nerd!
It's a pure nerd table. They're all specky and they're all ugly.
Brian Thingy's there, isn't he?
I don't know. I didn't recognise anybody. But I will say this. I've noticed that, and we spoke about this before, I don't know if it was on mic or not, about how, like, somebody will have on their credits, like, ugly person at table.
Yeah.
On their credits now.
Yeah.
And I get it, like, it's a paid job, they're an actor, they're probably delighted to be in an Adam Sandler movie. But they're probably going to be credited as, like, fat guy number 1 or...
That doesn't need to happen, though, does it?
No, you could just call them person at table.
Absolutely.
Or wedding guest number 1 or something, but...
Person at table 6, 7, so identify them by number. You don't need to put that credit there.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of fucked up. And it happens a lot. This isn't just this movie, but this is just another example of it. It's like that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm that I watched the other day that I was telling you about. And they've got the good looking side of the restaurant and the ugly looking side. And I get that that's the joke of the episode, but at the same time, a lot of actors had to be hired to sit in the ugly side. And I get that they're in on it and they probably don't care, and I'm being overly sensitive, but it's kind of shit.
He then calls table 9 mutants. He says him and this ragtag band of uggles have nothing to offer anyone. Sideburns nods. The dad gets up, raging, calls him the worst wedding singer in the world. Robbie tells him if he has another outburst, he'll strangle him with his microphone. Now let's cut the damn cake. Fatty is going to have a heart attack if we don't eat again soon.
I mean, they couldn't just hit him with one fat joke. They have to come back around and they eat another one. So unnecessary. And it's not even funny. Like, I don't mind a fat joke if it's good or clever, but just saying, oh, that guy needs to eat cake and pointing at him and laughing is just a bit mean-spirited.
The guy looks hurt and then is like, yeah. Julia looks on, sad for Robbie. She should feel a bit sad for that guy.
Aye.
Cindy and Scott and the newlyweds. Cindy and Scott, everybody. The newlyweds. Whoop-de-doo!
One of the only sort of Sandler voices in this movie. He keeps the voices to a minimum.
Yeah.
It comes out here a wee bit.
Whoop-de-doo. It's a good tune.
Ah, yes. He does it really good. And then he sings the Love Stink song, which
it's good.
is a great song.
It's good.
This is a good scene. Well, he starts singing it and then he gets battered. He gets jumped by the family.
He sings to the whole room. He approaches to at one point he approaches the couple, Cindy and Scott, and tells them, I hate you. And he walks backwards. Did you see that? The bigger guy gets in on it and sings along with him, as does Sideburns. The entire Table 9 sing in unison. The dad knocks Robbie out, like you said. Julia checks out back for Robbie, who is in the trash.
This is one of my favourite jokes in the entire movie here. He's lying in the dumpster, completely flat out, and he wakes up, like just woke up out of consciousness, and he's like, has everybody went home? And she went, everybody left except for a few cops that are still interviewing witnesses.
Brilliant.
It's like a major incident.
It's so good. She says he's great, but he's lost all faith in himself. She says she and Glenn have set a date. There's an engagement party in 2 weeks and she really hopes he and Sammy can come.
What are you doing? I was watching this scene being like, don't tell him that you've set a date. He's clearly heartbroken and just been dumped at the lodge. She's like, I just get engaged. We've set this about rubbing it into him. I know she's trying to be nice.
The man's in a dumpster.
But the man's lying in a dumpster and she's like, I know you've just been left and you're in a dumpster and your life's not going well, but just to let you know, I'm doing really great right now and I've set my date. I'd have been like, fuck you, bitch. You can see I'm struggling.
I'd have shut the lid on myself. Robbie babysits his nephews. One of them asks if it's true he's in the middle of a nervous breakdown. He asks who said that. The kid says, everybody. Is it true he's going to end up in a mental institution? Another one goes, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Andy pulls my side. Andy the brother-in-law pulls my side and talks about banging his sister.
He gives him some advice. Says when me and your sister first went out, we were crazy, adventurous. Now when we've got a minute alone, we nap. Sometimes on a special occasion, she'll do the exotic dance. Sometimes she might work the nipples a bit. Robbie says, go.
Check this improv, that sounds improv.
Oh, I hope so. He is very funny.
He is, but it's so deadpan.
It's dead natural when he says nipples. He does that. Just nipples. A wee bit. It's quite funny. Glenn is talking. This is the engagement party.
Oh man, and her boyfriend, what's his name?
Glenn is
dressed up like Miami Vice.
It's funny.
It is really funny, and it's 80s appropriate. But even then, man, dressing up like one of them must make you look like a douche.
Especially if you don't look like Don Johnson.
No, he doesn't. The big raid.
Glenn is talking to another regular Sandler director, Steve Brow. He also wrote The Mighty Ducks, Steve Brow. I always forget that.
I didn't know that.
Glenn is saying how babes want to be married. He's got some lines in this.
He also, his pal talks about how fucked up they're going to get at his wedding and he high-fives him.
Oh, it's that
like a big bro. It's a frat brother, that's what it is.
Julia shows up, says there's only a short time to arrange the wedding. Glenn says she should do it all.
Girls like doing that kind of stuff, or whatever he says, and he just walks away, leaves her to date himself. Then Sammy shows up with Robbie, and he's dressed like Michael Jackson. He's got the bad jacket on, and he's even got the glove.
Robbie tells him to lose the glove.
He's like, take that, I feel like a weirdo.
They say hello to Steve Brow and Glenn. Steve Brow says to Robbie, I heard what happened to you. You must feel like shit. Robbie says, no, it felt really good. Thanks for bringing it up. He says, my parents also died when I was a kid, if you want to talk about that.
He delivers it. Sandler, in fairness to him, is great here. He delivers it so sarcastically and snidely. It is hilarious. Man, Sandler's really good.
He's great.
When he wants to be.
Yeah.
I think he just gets lazy now. He can put in a performance when he wants to, but see with these grown-up films and that, it's like, he's not even trying, is he?
They sell to people though. I mean, that is what it is. I think you and I just wish he was doing different content.
I guess. Oh man, we're excited for that Spaceman movie.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be fucking shit hot.
It's going to be so good.
Isabella Rossellini's in it?
Yeah.
What?
Carey Mulligan, Heinous the Spider, voiced by Paul Dano. It's going to be...
What's going on, man?
Hanging man, show me it the new. Julia thanks them for coming. They hang out at work so much, but they're all so busy. Sammy says they need to make the time. Robbie sort of looks up in here, then he tells Julia about what Sammy was saying the first time that he had eyes on Julia.
She teases him as well, man. She's really cute in this scene.
I think that I could have watched the three of them more in this together in this scene. Yeah. It's so cute. It's so warm.
Sammy gets all sort of embarrassed and walks away. and they kind of mock him as he's walking away. There's good banter here, good chemistry.
He says she was in trouble and he was going to give it to her. Drew adorably leaps forward asking, give me what exactly? And he's mortified and he walks away and he didn't mean that at the time and stuff like that. Robbie and Julia still clearly want to be around each other. He gives
and
her...
they took her into each other.
It's magnets.
Right off the bat.
Magnets, man. Yep. You just can't take your eyes off the pair of them. Robbie and Julia still clearly want to be around each other. Gives her tips for her wedding, and he says that they can hang out at other functions that he's doing, just not weddings. We get the bar mitzvah.
By the way, right, can I just say something about bar mitzvahs? I don't know any Jewish people, I don't think. I really wish I did, so I could get invited to a bar mitzvah.
They look banging, man.
They look banging. Every bar mitzvah you see in a movie or whatever looks like the fucking best time ever.
Yeah.
And I've never been to one, and I don't have the opportunity, but I would love to be invited to a bar mitzvah. Looks like some fucking rare party.
I think you're only putting out an invite for a Wayne's party.
When you say like...
I think we need...
No, in fairness, they're becoming an adult.
I think... Well, that's no...
Is that not better? No.
I like the idea of what you're saying. I just need to stop you there.
Okay.
We get the bar mitzvah. Robbie shines here. He approaches the Matilda kid, Jimmy Katz.
I didn't write his name, but I've just wrote Bruce from Matilda.
Who says
Remember that film, sorry to interrupt, where he finishes the cake and then she just pulls the glass plate and just breaks it out of his fucking head?
I'm not a big Matilda guy.
But you've
I've seen it.
So it basically eats the entire chocolate cake, just makes him eat, and it's on a big glass platter, and he lifts the platter above his head like a trophy.
Yep.
In celebration, but then she lifts the glass platter and just smashes it right over his head. That's fucking attempted murder.
Did you see
a child?
Did you see what? She literally swung a Wayne by the hair and
out of a fence.
And you're digging up that one.
The chokey, remember the chokey? The big coffin that they put the kids in that's got spikes in it?
Is it turnboat?
Trench boat?
Terrible person, man. Terrible person.
Was a bodybuilder in the Olympics or something like that?
He approaches this is Jimmy Katz, who says he was just turned down by a girl because she said she didn't dance with losers. Sad emoji. Robbie tells him not to worry. He'll meet someone that's right for him one day, and why would he even want to dance with someone like that anyway? The kid smiles politely. Robbie then commands the room and invites Julia to the dance floor, asking if anyone in the room would wish to dance with her. All the boys want to, and an old man sitting with his grandson says, I'd like to do a lot more than dance with her.
Alright, Papa, go to bed.
And he high-fives his grandson like...
It's a dirty old bastard. Drew Barrymore's really cute with the kid. She invites him up to dance. She takes his hand to have a nice wee slow dance. Sandler's singing, and as she's dancing with the kid, she's looking at him, and they're totally eye-flirting with each other. Then the wee guy cops a feel, man. Wee Bruce for Matilda just grabs her arse, and I'm like, whoa.
He grabs her butt and she goes with it.
She chuckles and giggles as if isn't that cute, and I'm like, whoa.
Robbie sings and the chef watches from the kitchen and cries.
That's funny. Everybody starts grabbing everybody's arse now. They're all going to the dance floor and everybody's grabbing a big handful of ass.
He says, take it, George, and George rocks the bassoon whilst Robbie dances with a teen.
Do you know George has got about 3 different instruments here?
Yeah.
Every time we cut to them, they've got a different instrument. It's really, really hilarious.
The teen puts her hands on Robbie's butt. Then an older couple watching put their hands on each other's butts. And it spreads around the room. Sammy and the chef are dancing and they put each other's hands on each other's butts. The chef is raising his eyebrows like,
I like this.
It's good. Everyone is butt dancing.
It's a weird scene when you think about it, innit?
It's weird, but it's also an Adam Sandler comedy and it's very funny, I think. I laughed at this. She kisses the kid on the cheek and tells him he's a lovely dancer. Robbie and Julia, it's cute. Robbie and Julia then pack up and chat later. She thanks him for recommending Tony the florist and asks for more help with the wedding. He reluctantly agrees.
See when they go to negotiate prices with this photographer and Robbie's haggling and stuff, and she thinks it's their wedding.
The photographer says she's got a feeling they're going to make it. She can tell. She compares them to a bunch of couples who have since split up. They say they're brother and sister. The photographer says that makes sense. She could tell they're close. They fool around, yeah, like brother and sister, and it's just great chemistry between them. It's totally wild. We then cut to
fucking John Lovitz, man.
John Lovitz,
like with little Nicky, he steals the show in the 1 minute, 2 minutes worth of screen time. He comes out here and he's singing Ladies Night.
Ladies Night. And this is a rival wedding singer. He gives a performance. At the end he says, I don't have a sock in my pants. And he tells everyone to take 4, meaning his band.
Well, once he finishes singing, he goes, Shaka Khan.
He talks to Robbie. Robbie thanks Jimmy. He says, I should be thanking you for the business. That's tripled. Or I should be thanking Linda. That's brutal, man. He's so unnecessarily brutal to Robbie.
He's such a scumbag. He plays this character so well. Because he is a kind of scumbag in real life.
Yeah. He asks what she thought, and she says he has inspired her to hire a DJ.
I know, it's pure crestfallen after she says that.
He tells her good luck finding a DJ who can move and sing like this, and he shimmies.
He thrusts his fucking wee penis.
Julia asks why Robbie became a wedding singer. He needed some money. He just wanted to be a songwriter.
Yeah, she asks about one of the songs he's written. He said that he's written a song recently, but he started it when him and his fiancée were going out, or when they were getting married, am I right? And then he finished the song after she left him at the altar, so it's a bit uneven, I think he says.
It's inspired by The Cure. It's sweet with dark outbursts.
Which is an understatement. So she encourages him to sing it eventually, and then we get the fucking iconic bullshit song.
At one point he's screaming, he's on his knees, somebody please kill me, I want to die. And in the background, John Lovitz.
He's speaking behind the curtain.
Robbie finishes the song and cries. Julia says she likes it, and Lovitz says he's losing his mind. And
He's losing his mind.
And I'm reaping all the benefits. And he slowly slides the curtain back perfectly. Julia and Robbie go for ice cream and talk. Linda never really appreciated Robbie.
Man, this Grand Canyon story is pure tragic. Isn't it?
Yeah.
She's a bit of a fucking dick to him for the start.
They went to the Grand Canyon and he'd never saw it before. Linda had.
Yeah, Linda had been before, he'd never been. And he asked if he could sit in the window seat just so he could see it as they were landing, and she said no. And he said it's not a big deal, but it's little things like that, like, they make the difference in a relationship, and that's true.
He asks about Glenn. She describes love and how Glenn will be a really good looking older man.
She's not sold on Glenn at all, man, you can tell. They both kind of share a misery here. This is the scene where they both realise that they're not happy.
Yeah.
Well, obviously Robbie knows he's not happy, but he also knows that she's not happy. If that makes any sense.
They eat cake in a lineup. The last lady at the end with yellow teeth.
Oh, that's right. There's a wee montage. Sorry, wedding. There's a wedding prep montage. I've just wrote that, but I hadn't written. Like, sorry. Let's take that again because I totally fucked that for you there.
We get this little cake scene, and the characters eat cake in a lineup.
They take a bite and pass it on to the next person. It gets to Robbie, who's last in line, but he turns around and there's this old lady with yellow teeth behind him.
I don't mean this rude, but ghastly kind of character.
She looks like a witch. And
she's got this overly enthusiastic.
She's like, and the geezer's some cake.
And she's like, it's a perfect Sandler bit.
Yeah, this is exactly his type of humour.
They make Sammy do a slalom course with a limo. He's giving it pure everything for this job. And we all know he's already got it, but he's zipping a massive limo in between tiny cones. And he's giving it everything.
I'm pretty sure that the parts of the car are falling off and stuff. I think the wheel trim falls off and stuff.
She says herself, he's the only limo driver in town. Robbie's checking his time on the course. I don't know why this time I lost it during that.
No, I wasn't. I didn't really find it that funny. Sorry.
Sammy drops Robbie off.
He totally calls him out for being into her. Sammy makes some sort of joke or statement about Julia, and Robbie gets all defensive, and he's like, "Oh, you like her?"
He says there's a jacket in the back seat, and Robbie says it's Julia's and describes exactly where and when she took it off. Sammy calls him out in this. It's cute. Julia and Holly talk at the breakfast table about the wedding kiss. It leads to a very elaborate but really cute kiss scene between Robbie and Julia.
And this isn't cute at all to me. Yeah, elaborate's the word. I hated this scene.
It's
it didn't
so
make any
forced.
sense. Holly's doing a Rubik's Cube, just to remind you that we're in the 80s, I think. So what happens is Robbie comes to drop off the jacket that she left in the limo. That's fine. Holly then says, "Oh, we're talking about their first kiss, but she needs to show her how much tongue is church tongue." That's hard to say. Why doesn't he either kiss Holly and Julia can tell him if they're doing it right, or why doesn't Holly kiss Julia? It's elaborate and unnecessary.
I like Barrymore's response when she's kissed. She's like thunderstruck. She does that cute thing Barrymore does. Glenn arrives with a CD player for Julia. She asks if he wants to play records on it.
I didn't catch that. That's funny.
Holly wants to hook up with Robbie. She can tell Julia seems a little off by this.
Holly wants to date Robbie because she liked the way he looked kissing Julia. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Did you get this scene with Robbie as he's with the old lady she works out?
Nightclub? No, I just jumps for that in the nightclub.
I don't think I've ever seen this scene before in my life. Robbie sits with the old lady she works out, and she talks about him maybe being nervous about showing his penis to a new woman.
If I've seen that, I've not wrote it down anyway.
It felt completely like a deleted scene. It was dead awkward. It wasn't that funny. Julia shows up and asks...
Did you watch a copy of this? A rip of this? Right, because I've seen it on Amazon, so it would have been the cinematic cut probably, but you might have seen maybe the extended DVD.
It must be extended. It wasn't very good. We get the club scene.
So at this club, David Bowie's playing in the background. Good soundtrack again in this movie all the way through it.
They all sing David Bowie and Glenn shuts them up.
He's sitting there miserable, man. He hates being there. He is quite clearly ogling this waitress's arse right beside Julia, who's oblivious. How does she not see any of this?
She's too busy hammering drinks.
She is getting drunk. She's getting steaming. I don't know if she's because she's having a bad night or she's nervous, but she's getting drunk and Glenn's just pure like a cartoon. He's like saying The Mask with his Cameron Diaz and his jaw hits the table. It's like that. Staring at this lad, and Robbie is looking at him, looking at her.
Giving it proper Pepe Le Pews.
Always pure trying to like talk to Robbie and that, but you can tell he's just not interested.
Julia just keeps hammering these drinks until she has to puke at one point and climbs over the table. Holly helps her to the toilet. Robbie starts to do an investigation here with Glenn. He asks about the wedding and asks if he's looking forward to it. He seems indifferent. He says he just doesn't really want to lose Julia. We get the impression. Yeah.
He wants a housewife. He wants somebody to look after the kids and cook the dinner and all that sort of stuff, but he wants to have his... He says this, his side pieces in the city. He says, I work in the city, I work in Wall Street or whatever. And he says, I've got different girls every night or something like that.
He says this waitress in front of him is a grade A piece of meat. It's important to remember that.
Yeah.
Robbie says they can't get chicks like that now. They're too old. Glenn says,
not me, man. Not me, bro.
I can still get chicks like that. Robbie says, aye, what, 10 years ago? Glenn says, try 10 days ago, buddy. Younger and hotter. Robbie says, well, that sucks. It'll all change when you're married. He says, nah, he works in the city. Long hours. And he winks. Oh, it's gruesome.
I like the way that he sets him up here. Sandler just asks him questions and gives him enough rope to hang himself with. And he doesn't respond. He's just kind of like, all right, okay. So he knows in his head that the guy's a total scumbag. He probably suspected it anyway, but now he knows for sure that this guy's wrong for her.
He's got it confirmed. Yeah. Julia's a little wasted, so they're going to leave. Robbie waits with her outside. Holly goes in for her purse. Glenn arrives in his DeLorean.
In 1985, a DeLorean must have been expensive.
He's security. It's worthwhile thinking about.
I bet you would buy a DeLorean if you could afford it. You mad loser.
Look at
you
it.
Mad wee nerd.
Of course I would.
You'd sit in the passenger seat and wank. Wouldn't you? Oh, look at me, I'm Marty McFly. Where's the dog?
I'm in the past. And I've just stuck dinosaur stickers to the windows to make it seem as if I'm in the past. Glenn arrives in his DeLorean, warning Julia not to puke in the car. This whole time he's talking, he has these sunglasses down like this. Did you know? It's so funny. Robbie gets Holly home. Holly asks about that kiss from the other day.
Man, Holly basically says to him, man, if you invite me upstairs, you're definitely getting
it.
laid.
It's happening.
And he says, no. The fuck is wrong with him?
Yeah, she says if he comes inside, he will get laid. He says he's a bit of a mess just now. He asks about Julia, and Holly notices this. She says he likes Julia. She asks if he knows why she's marrying Glenn. He says security. It matters to some people. Holly says it matters to all people. We get the morning after. She's hungover. Julia arrives and apologises. Holly says she only kissed Robbie. Says Robbie doesn't think much of Glenn. Then tells her she told Robbie why Julia is marrying Glenn.
Robbie called him a jerk-off.
And that she is marrying Glenn for the security. Julia denies this, and Holly asks why is she marrying him then. She sort of found a way to get her to say that. Yeah. She was being a friend.
She's very supportive and friendly. She's not bitter that Robbie had rejected her or whatever. She understands why and is immediately trying to get them together. Because I don't think she likes Glenn either.
It's a good group of friends they've got.
Yeah, there's no like arsehole friend here. Everybody is really supportive of them, which is nice. They go to visit this old lady again, but Julia's here this time.
Julia goes to Rosie's looking for Robbie. Rosie says he quit the lessons and went to the city for a city job. She says Robbie can't be expected to live with his sister forever. And all the nipple twisting that goes on there.
Man, do you know what's annoying here? So it cuts in between this conversation and Robbie and his interview in the city. And it's Kevin Nelson.
Yeah.
Who's the interviewer, but I want to see more of him. Give me more of him in the movie because he's so funny.
He's not very funny in this movie.
He's not funny. He's pretty much the straight man. Like he's having this interview and Robbie's basically saying he's got no experience and he's not qualified for the job and he's just kind of looking at him. But I'm like, Kevin Nelson is one of the funniest people on the planet. Why has he not been funny here?
It may as well have been anybody else.
It could just have been some generic guy.
It was weird.
It's weird that you've got such a great comedic actor there and he's just not doing anything comedic. Yeah.
Julia waits for Robbie. He's bitter when he arrives. He outlines why he should be doing better and she rejects all of it, reminding him he has no interest in all of that material crap. He says it's a material world and he's a material boy. She says he isn't. He says she is. That's why she's marrying Glenn for his money. She throws a present in the air she had brought with her. It's customised sheet music.
This is the bar scene, man. This old guy. Do you recognise this old guy? Another Samler movie?
Yeah.
It's the guy that steps in the poop.
Robbie drinks at the bar with Sammy. He's on one and wants to be a fuckboy. He says women should only be used for fun so that no emotions are involved. He then points to an old man in the bar who says they rip your heart out of your ass.
The old man is the guy that says, it's poop again. He calls the shit poop. Norm MacDonald's line behind the bush, he goes, this is the best night of my life.
Sammy asks what's up. He explains about Glenn cheating on Julia all the time. The old man interjects, telling Robbie he needs a prostitute. They both look at him, then carry on their conversation. Robbie says he's in love with Julia. Sammy genuinely sympathises. I think this is a lovely scene.
He basically says, admits that he's miserable.
Yeah.
And that he he's chases women all day, but all he wants is somebody to hold him and tell him it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
That's fucked, man.
It's funny, but really,
It's funny, but it's
really
like
sweet. Like,
yeah, it's sweet, and it totally changes his character because all the sort of womanizing he's been doing the whole way through the movie, you can tell. I mean, you knew that anyway. That was just like a shield, but the way that they actually address it in this is like unexpectedly sweet.
He takes a drink and says he's miserable. He grew up idolising guys like the Fonz because they got a lot of chicks. He then asks Robbie if he knows what happened to the guys like the Fonz. He says their shows get cancelled because no one wants to see a 50-year-old guy hitting on chicks. It's true. Robbie asks what he means. Yeah, he says he wants someone to hold him. It's got something to it. It's lovely.
It's one of the better scenes in the movie, I think.
It really is.
I really like this.
Robbie goes to Julia's to tell her.
This scene's a bit silly. I get it's a film. I get it. But he's walking up to her window and she's trying on the dress, I believe. And she is talking to herself in the mirror. And she's picturing herself with Glenn and she's not happy. Oh, we've not mentioned his second name. His second name's Julia. Is that right? So she's going to be Julia. Which is a stupid joke, but it works for the movie. And she's saying, "Hi, I'm Julia," and she looks all depressed. And then she says, "Hi, I'm Julia, and this is my boyfriend Robbie," or something, or "This is my husband Robbie." And she smiles, because it's a nice image, but he sees this through the window.
Yeah.
And sees her smiling with her wedding dress on, and is like, "Oh man, I don't want to break her heart," and decides not to tell her. I get it's a film, but see this convenient timing shit, it always takes me out of a movie. It's like...
It is a classic rom-com kind of...
yeah. But it's like, see all these rom-coms, and they all do it, not just this movie. It's like, see if you just talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like this whole big
There'd be no film,
misunderstanding.
like...
But still would be a film when we're almost at the end of this movie. It's just like an unnecessary next 10 minutes.
Fair play. Sammy, he goes, Robbie sees this, she looks happy, and he walks back to the bar. Sammy and the elderly gentleman are
moonwalking.
They're practicing moonwalking. Robbie comes in with a bottle and a brown bag. They plan to go to the alley to finish it. When he announces this, they just come immediately with him. They bump into Glenn and his hoodlums.
Is Glenn on his bachelor party?
Pre-bachelor party, I think he calls it, or something silly.
But I think that means that they're on their way to the bar.
Right.
So I think it's the night of his bachelor party, but they're already fucked up. He's there with a bunch of women and a bunch of his frat party bros. Robbie calls him a piece of shit. Glenn threatens him not to be a snitch.
Glenn calls him an orphan singer. Jesus.
That's kind of fucked. And then he punches him. Well, the old man for the bar goes in and tries to throw a swing at Glenn, and he hurts his hand.
He says, "Sorry, I'm not as strong as I used to be."
It's kind of funny. And then Glenn hits Robbie with a cheap shot when he's not looking.
He socks him,
He socks him, knocks him on his arse like a wee dick.
I think the following is so excellent in this gentleman's performance as Glenn, when he does a classic Sandler kind of enthusiastic. Glenn tells him to write a song about it. He says, "Why don't you write a song about it? I got punched in the nose for sticking my face in other people's business." And it's so goofy, but everybody around him's like,
He's vegans.
The old man says it sounds like a country song. Glenn, whilst saying all of that, does this wee shimmy, and I've always found that really funny.
I didn't notice. I'm going to have to go back and look, guy.
Robbie goes home wasted and Linda is there. He says he doesn't want to be alone anymore and he passes out.
It's so sad.
He's at his lowest point. It's horrible.
I actually thought this was a dream when I seen this scene. I was just like, did he get knocked out when he get punched? And he's like seeing like a mirage sort of idea.
Like a demon.
Or a demon, aye. But when he wakes up the next morning, she's there.
Julia comes over for Robbie and answers. Julia comes over for Robbie and Linda answers the door in his t-shirt. She says
What t-shirt is it she's wearing again? It's like a Pearl Jam t-shirt or something?
Van Halen.
Oh, it's Van Halen. I don't know why Pearl Jam wasn't even out in 1985, was it?
She says he's indisposed in the shower. Julia says if she could just say that she called. She says, sure, Jennifer, and closes the door.
It slams her right in her face, so snidey. She goes and she wakes Robbie, and Robbie basically was like shocked. He can't remember anything that happened last night, and he tells her to leave and rejects her. She wants to get back with him. I don't really know why.
Ran out of options.
Aye, and maybe she's seen that the grass isn't greener, that kind of thing, and goes back to her ex, and he basically tells her to leave. And then we cut to him slamming the door on her face, and she does the walk of shame basically back home. That's all right the film.
I do like her trying to wake him up, doing a really slow rendition of "Wake me up before you go home." It's quite funny. Julia wakes Glenn up in bed. He's in leopard print underwear. She says she wants to get married now. He suggests Vegas. She says yes. He's chuffed about all this.
Because she's saving money and he gets it over with the big party and stuff.
He gets to gamble.
It seems like a big leap on her part as well. Like Julia's wanted this big wedding for ages, and because Robbie likes somebody, she decides just to be reckless and go to Vegas. Does it not just seem like a big stretch to you?
I think it's a romantic comedy.
I know it's a film and there's no film if this doesn't happen, but I'm like, oh man.
It's especially an Adam Sandler
Man, this is a final act if I've ever seen one. We need to get him on a plane to Vegas pronto.
But at Rosie's anniversary.
Oh, this is sweet, man. She's singing
It really is.
Her old man, or not her old man, like her man of 50 years. The song that they were practicing, and she nails it. It's really sweet.
As Rosie sings the song, Robbie thinks of Julia. He looks to Sammy, and Sammy says, I know, I'll get the car. Robbie bumps into Holly, who tells him Julia and Glenn are away to Vegas because Julia seen Linda and assumed they two were back together.
Oh, then we get the classic rom-com, you need to race to the airport to get through the gate.
Is this our first race to the airport?
It might be, which is crazy, because it seems to be like in every movie around about this period, but he races to the airport. I'm sorry, but this would have been a lot more effective if there wasn't this weird scene at the ticket desk with this guy with the flock of seagulls. You're
skipping Rosie doing Rapper's Delight. Everybody spoke about that, man.
Yeah, it is amazing. She kills it as well.
We get Rosie doing Rapper's Delight. This is maybe what everybody spoke about most in my school.
Really?
At the time, everybody spoke about that scene.
I don't know, I remember the scene, but I don't remember it being super popular in like my school and that.
The car to the airport. Robbie asks for a pen. He has an idea for a song. They get to the airport. The check-in attendant helps them get Robbie a flight.
I hated this scene, can I say this? This didn't work for me at all. This guy with the hair. Was this supposed to be funny, that this guy had a weird haircut?
It's just a reference to Flock of Seagulls.
I guess, it just felt weird. I don't know. It just pure took me out. I'm like, why is this? This feels like it could have been a deleted scene.
We get to the airplane.
I'm just moaning all the way through this film. I'm fucking tired, man. I'm tired and I'm fucking tanking this episode because I'm just like, this is shit. This wouldn't happen in real life. The Sandman.
We are on the airplane. Julia asks to switch seats with Glenn. He says no because the car always hits his elbows on the way past.
That's a callback to the fucking Grand Canyon scene. This is some decent writing in this film.
It is good writing. She says okay.
I love that Robbie's in first class and he doesn't belong there and he doesn't know what to do. Not waitress, oh my god, what's it called? Hostess flight attendant comes up to him with the hot towel and he doesn't know what to do with it, and she's kind enough to point at somebody and like copy him.
Robbie's great in first class. He notices Billy Idol, who is passed out, pissed. He gets excited about the free drinks, then tells the hostess and fellow passengers about his mission. Glenn looks out the airplane window as though he is the happiest man on earth. Julia looks on, pissed off because she really wants that view out the window. Then the cart comes along and bashes her elbow just like he said. That's great writing.
It was a good scene. This is all good.
Barrymore's reaction here is incredible. She screams silently. Glenn says, next time it comes by, grab me a Heineken, would you?
He's great in this, man. He's such a dick.
Robbie has a crowd around him led by Billy Idol. He talks about Linda.
They're hanging on his every word as he's telling this story.
He talks about Linda. Billy Idol is like, no way! Cars, jewellery, even women are possessions to him, meaning Glenn. I think this is a great cameo.
He's surprisingly really good in this.
Phenomenal in this. Like, I think it comes together really well. It is a wee bit self-parody. I really like it.
By the way, I've seen Billy Idol live. You've seen him? You ever seen him in concert?
No.
Puts on some show, by the way.
Does he still?
I mean, it was about 10 years ago, but still.
I only know a couple of tracks. I like Eyes Without a Face.
He done the biggins. He wasn't pulling any new material. Do you know what I mean? He done a bit of stuff.
Of
He
course.
came out and done like 5 or 6.
Dancing with Myself.
Dancing with Myself, White Wedding, all these ones, and place was fucking bouncing for him.
Good for him, man. At this point, a stewardess comes in and says a passenger back there invited her to join the Mile High Club and said she was top quality grade A meat. Remember that?
Aye.
Robbie gets out his seat and checks behind the curtain. A woman asks what the Mile High Club is, and Billy Idol smiles like,
I'll show you later.
Do you want to join it? Robbie tells them it's Julia and Glenn.
This guy's got a problem. If this guy's on his way to his own wedding, he's asking stewardesses to go to the Mile High Club. He's like getting mental health problems at this point.
He's got an addiction.
That's a sex addiction if you can't even go on a plane for a couple of hours with
He's
it.
got the Duchovny fever. Robbie tells them it's Julia and Glenn. They have to help him. Billy Idol stands up and goes, right! Robbie sings the song. Billy introduces the song over the comms. Glenn sleeps. We close in on Julia as she realises all of this, and it's I think it's goosebump central, man.
Do you?
I totally do. You don't think this holds up?
It's a bit naff.
Wow, I think it takes your breath away, man.
Nah, I mean, I get it. I know that I'm being a money bastard on this episode, and I do apologise for that. I'm watching this just a bit like, man, if this was a couple of years later after 9/11, there's fucking no chance they're letting him get this much freedom on this plane.
Right, though. I mean...
Imagine imagine that was a twist at the end of this movie. This is the same plane at the towers.
It takes place in the
this
80s.
This was the distraction it's going on.
It takes place in the 80s. It's
yeah.
not even 98.
It's like that mad Rob Pattinson movie, which is another movie. Then it's like, oh, by the way, it's 9/11. You're like, what?
Remember me. There's a scene Sandler sings, build you a fire if the furnace breaks. As he sings this, he looks upwards, like screen right, and his big, beautiful brown eyes are honestly, they just catch the lights. And he is such a leading man in this moment. I want to mention that because Roger Ebert described him in his review as not a leading man. And I think for someone like Roger Ebert to say that, look at Adam Sandler now, like him or love him.
I think time
He's
has
a
shown that
studio.
he's absolutely a leading man. He's a $1 billion industry
He's
at this point.
Titan. And
Yeah.
to say that is ridiculous. Julia is losing it. She turns and the other passengers react towards her. Robbie comes through the curtain and sings to her. Glenn wakes up and tries to get Robbie. He's caught by the hostess with the cart who blocks him.
He goes to the other side, and then you've got
Billy
Idol at the other side, and he pushes him into the toilet.
How are you doing, sir? Chicken or fish? No. Billy Idol stops him with the cart. Glenn charges at him. A Billy Idol superfan stands up and takes the cart and says, you can't talk to Billy Idol that way, and backs him up to the toilet with the help of the hostess who Glenn insulted. I think this cuts together incredibly.
It's a good roundabout way because he's now in the Mile High Club by himself kind of thing because he's locked in the toilet.
He reaches Julia. She says that's the most beautiful song. He says he has a confession. That song is about her. He's in love with her. She is so in love with him. They nearly kiss. Billy Idol interjects and says he's going to tell these record exec guys about him. He says he'd like to kiss her first, and then they kiss, and it dissolves to the kiss on their wedding day. We hear True by Spandau Ballet, and in one of the in one of film's greatest last reveals,
Steve Buscemi's the wedding singer.
He's the
Dave's
wedding
back. Amazing.
Can I tell you, at 36 years old, he's cleaned up.
Aye.
and he's hilarious, and he sings it so serious, and his hair is all feathered.
Aye, it was great.
I felt so nice knowing that he got cleaned up.
Fuck's sake.
I am not kidding. That is that sentimental thing that kicks in when you're older.
Yeah.
It was so nice seeing him achieve what he did.
It would have been good if he would have seen his dad maybe nodding in approval.
Oh, maybe he's the drummer. And they kiss, and it's a beautiful ending, I think. And I really do think it adds a little thing to see him all cleaned up. The Wedding Singer, 1998.
Jesus, man. Big one.
Take it.
Big movie. Right, okay, so I hadn't seen this movie in a few years. I've seen it a bunch though, like back in the day when it came out. There is still some amazing moments. That Buscemi speech is still hilarious. John Lovitz is still incredible. There's some really good jokes and some good character work. I am not in love with a lot of this movie though. Like, the romance stuff for me kind of falls flat towards the end. I like the two of them together, and I think they've got good chemistry, and they totally are meant for each other on screen. And I totally get it, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, it's just the sort of the villainous, stereotypical scumbag boyfriend, the big run into the airport thing at the end. It's all a bit cliche, and I get it, it's 1998, like, it's 20 odd year ago. I don't know, man, I was watching it though, and maybe it's just me, but I feel cynical and cold saying this, but it just wasn't touching me the way it maybe should have. I like this, it's a romantic comedy, obviously. I just wish there was more comedy and less romance, personally. There is a couple of really funny scenes, but that's it, only a couple. Maybe I can count in one hand the genuine laughs I had in this movie. And there's a lot of romance, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, it's not for me in that way. And I get that it's a hard balancing act to do, and people love this, and that's fine. Definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it though. It's a fucking must watch, I would say that. Even for the start, the first 5 minutes alone. This is all a long-winded way of saying that it's a good movie. It's a 3 out of 5 coconuts.
Okay. The Wedding Singer, 1998. There was a wedding singer from Jersey who lived in his sister's basement, and he fell in love with a waitress. No, I'm not singing the latest smash hit from working class enthusiast Bruce Springsteen. I'm talking about the 1998 Sandler Barrymore classic. This is a gigantic movie for our generation, and it still sparkles from the lead's chemistry. I think The Wedding Singer is a perfect romantic comedy. Drew Barrymore brings out that aw shucks quality in Sandler in a way I think no one else can. I think his other kind of chauvinistic type characters feel kind of humiliating compared to this wonderful character he's capable of bringing out in someone like Robbie. It's the timid side of him I kind of cherish from Punch Drunk Love. Sandler's graduation from SNL was momentous, and this was one of the mainstream hits that ensured he was a household name. Around the world, in the 90s and to this day, love him or hate him, these films are the blueprints. Their chemistry is the selling factor of this entire thing. His puppy dog eyes and Drew Barrymore's sunshine smile. The 80s cover them in a cool sheen and surrounds them with hilarious side characters and a half-decent soundtrack. Sandler's films are usually about the balance and how much he can contain himself, and I think this is a near-perfect mix of that. It's cute, silly, and totally romantic. I think the build towards that climax is so romantic it kills me. 3.5 out of 5 coconuts.
Very good.
Cool, man.
Next week on Eedjits Features.
1 year.
A year of Eedjits features?
1 year of Eedjits features.
That's fucking nuts.
Let's keep it a mystery.
Okay. No trailer this week.
No trailer.
Enjoy it.
Have a good one.
Catch.